Canaries are these little birds that coal miners take into the coal mines. They take them in there, and when I go into the coal mine, I leave the bird there. This bird needs a whole lot of oxygen relative to its body. So when the oxygen starts to die out from the coal mine and create a deadly atmosphere that you can't breathe, the bird's going to die first. I can see that and go, whoa, it's time to get out because this bird that needs a lot of oxygen, it's going to die. That's my clue that something's wrong. Better leave. That's what a canary is for in a coal mine. Hold on to that. Black lung is a disease, an impairment of the lungs that coal miners get when they go into the mines to take out the energy that so many around the world use. Black lung killed lots of people back in the day. Coal mining is still a really dangerous thing to do. Hold on to all that. I made a video about a guy who killed himself. I had met him at this terrible church full of terrible people. I made a video about it. My video was removed. People said they were glad my kids were taken from me based on what I said in the video. They hated me that much that they want my kids to suffer. The girl that I featured in the video as an example of why this guy killed himself, she contacted me in 2 different ways. One threatening me, motherfucker this, motherfucker that, and the other one begging me, please this, please that. All because I simply said a whole lot of stuff that's gonna come right after this preface. This guy killed himself because of a terrible atmosphere at this terrible church near Grossmont College in San Diego. The Mormon church. I was a Mormon back in the day. I'm going to give you a little bit of preface as to what this other video is already going to say, just so that this all makes sense and ties together, because I got a little bit more to add on to the video that got removed. For one thing, before I was in my sleeping bag freezing cold, and you'll be clued in if you don't know what this is, I was freezing cold, and then these girls, 6 in the morning, Mormon girls, are taking pictures of me inside their heated church because I was in a sleeping bag right outside their church. Before that happened, and you'll get clued in exactly, before that happened, I went to the leader of that church, the president of that church, and I asked for help for social services. That's why churches have tax-exempt statuses, to provide social services to, for example, homeless people. It's not to give marriage to gay people or something like that. They shouldn't lose their tax-exempt status if they don't marry gays, because that's not why they get tax-exempt status for marrying people. They get tax-exempt status for providing social services. So, for example, they should lose their tax-exempt status if they only provide services to their members. Mormons should lose their tax-exempt status. Wait for it. So I'm asking this guy for help, and he won't help me because he finds out in the course of our interview that I'm not Mormon. I don't do any of the objective standards they might hold for someone who needs social services. You can have standards, but they have to be consistent, and they can't be, you have to be a Mormon. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I wouldn't waste the money on gambling. Any of these objective standards I would meet, but I wasn't Mormon, so he wouldn't help me. Worse, one of the people who's been helping me a lot, and for example, whose house this is, she tried to help me. This weasel who wouldn't help me, him and some other leaders of this garbage church, gossiped to her, told her she shouldn't help me, told her she should seek out a priesthood holder who could know better how to help me. In case you just joined us, the priesthood holder to Mormons is somebody who has the power to act in God's name. Well, my friend, why doesn't she have that? After all, the Mormons used to not let black people have the priesthood, the power to act in God's name. Because the first prophet in Mormonism, Joseph Smith, said that black people did something so terrible in the pre-existence, the world before this one, that blacks should never get the priesthood. Brigham Young, the second prophet, said race mixing between whites and blacks should be punished by death. Moving along into the 1970s, suddenly the Mormon prophet said blacks should get the priesthood because the civil rights acts and everything was going to make Mormons lose their tax-exempt status if they were racist fucks. So they give blacks the priesthood. Wait, they give black men the priesthood. Women still don't have the priesthood. By Mormons, the power to act in God's name. So my friend can't help me because she can't have the power to act in God's name. Little more preface or a little side note. Mormons actually believe that If there's no men around, the women could be an honorary man and have the power to act in God's name, a priesthood, if a priesthood holder isn't parent. So if my friend sees my girlfriend sees a crisis, she can look around for a man. Can a man solve this? No? Okay, then I have the power. This is Mormon theology for you. So these church leaders, and this is all going to tie together, wait for it. These church leaders tell my friend not to help me. They tell her that I turned away help from this church. Just lying to her. These are weasels. These are terrible people. Fortunately, terrible people are good at feeling bad. So for example, this weaselly fuck president who wouldn't help me and then lied about it to my friend, a couple of days before he interviewed me, his bitch mother had died. So that's a little bit of silver lining. Fuck him and fuck her. I'm just saying that to be mean. Because what actually happened is, after all that, then I had these girls laughing and taking pictures of me while I'm on my sleeping bag, and it'll be explained in the next video that I'm prefacing. And then a guy that I met named Sean killed himself. In this video upcoming, I point out that I point out some stuff like this atmosphere is shit. These people are bad people. That's probably why he killed himself. And then my video got taken down because I'm bullying, because bullying means saying things people don't want to hear, and we've socialized them all to be incapable of handling conflict or arguing their points. So instead you're bullying them when you point out that they are shit people who probably contributed to their friend killing himself. That's not nice, therefore it's bullying. Sean was a canary in the coal mine. Wait for it. So my friend even, where I am, she wrote up a criticism of the response to this guy's death. Wrote this similar, we were actually not colluding, or we weren't on the same page, but we came up with the same. She wrote hers out. I did mine in video. We hadn't talked for a while, and we came up with a similar thesis, which was the shit people in that atmosphere contributed to this guy's death. Some people in her response to her writing said, "Oh, he had so many people that could have helped him, and this, that, and the other thing." Long story short, if you take her saying that. Then she went in to point out that as a man, he's much more likely to commit suicide, at least 4 times more likely once gender roles become apparent and he's not cared for and not given help. She points all this out, and they say, nevertheless, he could be helped, this, that, and the other thing. Now imagine my analysis in the context of her writing. This guy killed himself, and months previous, a guy very similar to him was asking for help, not getting it. Instead, they're giving help to all kinds of bitch girls. That's not nice to say. Nevertheless, as I mentioned in the video upcoming, the atmosphere created by these bitch girls makes bishops kill themselves. Manifestly. Wait for it. And as far as I'm concerned, contributed to this guy Sean killing himself. When I can't even get help, yet all these girls get pandered to in so many ways, I'm a canary in the coal mine. Sean is a canary in the coal mine. He kills himself, and instead of people going, whoa, he killed himself, this atmosphere is terrible. No, it's, it was something else, and he should have done this, the other thing. Well, the best you can do is learn from somebody. If they go, I don't like this atmosphere, shoot myself in the head. Oh, it must have been some other thing, let's do the thing we did with Adam Lanza. You can read the New Yorker article that has Peter Lanza, Adam's father, Connecticut Sandy Hook shooter. Adam Lanza was antagonized throughout by a how do we call it? A darling of our culture. Somebody who's unaccountable. Somebody that we create mythologies around. A bitch single mother. Nancy Lanza was given Adam Lanza's mom was given a close to $1 million house. Of course, in the diverse settlement, because women take care of kids. Then she tormented Adam. It is very well documented, although not intentionally, by a New Yorker article that features Adam Lanza's father, Peter Lanza. Take a look at that. Adam Lanza, victim. Canary in the coal mine. Hey, this guy shot up a bunch of stuff. Let's try to understand why. No, let's make a bunch of fantasy. Sean, Victim. Hey, this guy hated this atmosphere and wanted to die. No, it was everything else. Kick this guy out. Shoot the messenger. Remove this guy's video so that we feel better about ourselves. Okay. But here's where it gets weirder. This is where the self-destruction comes in, where not even being willing to analyze. Well, this canary just died for no reason. Let's stay in here and die of lack of oxygen. When Sean killed himself, I said there's a shit atmosphere. Well, you're just evil and you have tattoos and you say bad words. Guess what? My friend here, she's actually not here right now, she, after Sean killed himself, she went with 3 other people in a car to help Sean's father straighten things up at his house and whatnot. He's terribly unhappy right now. And they just went on a sort of a service mission to help him out. Sounds nice enough. One of the people in that car is the wife of the bitch president who wouldn't help me, then lied to my friend about me. And I'm not taking this personal. Just watch the other videos if you think, oh, you're, like so many people were saying, you're exploiting this Sean's death and you didn't know him and all this. No, it's not that easy, but you feel free to go back to sleep, die in the coal mine. She went up there with 3 other people, one of whom was the wife of that president. And of course that wife can't get, even though she's the president's wife, she still can't have priesthood the power to act in God's name because Mormons are sexist pieces of shit. Another one was a self-mutilating Mormon girl in good standing. She cuts herself when she's mad. More specifically, on the car ride up there to help out the father of this guy who committed suicide, on the car ride up there, this girl was talking openly about cutting herself and how she cuts herself when she's unhappy, etc., etc. Now, it's no one's job to do anything, certainly not if they're a woman. It's everyone's job to make their ineptitude work on paper. So when this idiot wife of the bitch president did nothing, just heard that and did nothing, according to my friend, silence, not even a single word of, why do you cut yourself? Or you shouldn't cut yourself? Or anything. My friend had to step in and talk to her about it. That lady did nothing, of course, because she's set up for failure, like so many girls in this culture, like the big-titted girl who now she's the big-tit girl, the one that I feature as an example of the kind of friends that make Sean want to kill himself. That big-tit chick, she gets paid because she's hot now. Wait about 10 years. Then she's just going to be an annoying big-tit chick who threatens and begs people like me. When I put pictures of them up as an example, I blur out the face, I pink out the face, so it's completely not invading her privacy because nobody knew who she was. She could have been any arguably attractive, functionally useless girl, but suddenly she makes it about herself and her feelings. That's the kind of girl that that culture creates. The useless wife of the president who says nothing to this cutter girl. The cutter girl herself who was taught through Mormon bullshit, you know what? Do whatever you want as long as you're not having sex. That's pretty much the message girls in Mormonism get, with plenty of exceptions. But they get this message that life is just about doing God stuff, but it's just have fun, do whatever you want, act as silly as you want, ridiculous, useless, aimless, just don't get pregnant. If they do that, they can do no wrong. So that's what they get. Not, here's how this works, here's how that works, you shouldn't do this, you should do this. It's pretty much, if you're not getting pregnant, you're okay. So there's no boundaries, and these girls eventually have no boundaries. They don't know how anything works. They can't cope. They cut, for example, and then the president's wife can't do anything about it, because the president is off doing something else, something priesthoodly, acting in God's name. Meanwhile, like I've alluded to in the other video and how I'll say now, I could have stopped Sean from killing himself. A few more conversations with me. Where were you? I was off doing something else. I could have helped him cope, though. These people are completely incapable of helping him cope. They're busy wasting their fucking time. They're busy faking. They're busy pretending to know what God wants, even when they sit and drive the cutter up to the father whose son committed suicide because they have a shit atmosphere. This is the messenger. The message is bulletproof, but feel free to shoot it up. That might be all the preface that I need. I mentioned in the video that if it gets flagged, it would be my 3rd removed video and I would lose my account. Come to find out, every 6 months, if in 6 months you have 3 videos, you'll lose it. One of my flags went away. It's my second flag, so that video is taken down, but it's only my second flag. Nevertheless, I've been censored again, simply for telling a handful of people what they don't want to hear. I've been threatened and this, that, and the other thing. But my point is, look at these canaries in the coal mine. This isn't about me exploiting someone's death like so many idiots said about so many supposed friends of Sean's. He killed himself to get away from them. This is about me having met Sean, knowing the atmosphere, sleeping outside a church when these girls are laughing and taking pictures, knowing that a bishop had killed himself because of the atmosphere, needing water. Man, my throat is dry. Then finding out that the same bishop who did not give me services because I'm not Mormon, they should lose their tax-exempt status, did not give me services. That same bishop gossiped about me, trying to get this girl not even to help me whatsoever. His wife sat by while a cutter talked about cutting. Simply put, I'm better than most Mormons by far. I'm just saying that to be mean. It's true, but I'm just saying it to be weird. You can shoot the messenger. The message is bulletproof. Feel free to go back to sleep. You're going to die in the coal mine. Now, you're not really allowed to talk about things that matter. So I just might get this video removed for offending people. And this will be my third video removed, so I'll lose my account. Never mind that. If I can't say things, I don't need an account, so I'll risk it. One more thing. For more on what I'm about to talk about, you can search Homeless Man's Message to Unprincipled Mormon Women about suicidal bishops. I met a guy named Sean at the church, the the Mormon church in San Diego near Grossmont College. He killed himself a couple days ago. The only thing I worry about when I hear these kind of stories is I hope he was committed throughout and that he didn't, halfway through, imagine he had slit his wrists in a bathtub. You go into a warm bathtub because it makes your blood move faster, so you bleed out sooner, and then you die sooner. I hope, for example, if he were in a bathtub, he didn't change his mind at the last second and frantically try to wash the diluting blood back into his body and give up on his suicide. What I'm saying is I hope that he was committed throughout and was happy with his choice. And in all honesty, I have to say, he probably was. I've known plenty of people like Sean, those who actually commit suicide and those who don't but wander through life in a living suicide. But this isn't about Sean, this video. This is actually about the response that was given. And the reason that I mentioned that other video, my video, Homeless Man's Message to Unprincipled Mormon Women about Suicidal Bishops, is because at this church, the one I met Sean at before he killed himself, I only saw him a couple of times, talked to him a few times. At that church, I was homeless there, outside. One day in particular that I mentioned in the other video, I was laying in a sleeping bag. It was freezing cold in the morning, like 6 in the morning. And there's a thing called seminary where the good churchgoers, they learn about Jesus and whatnot. And these girls were at seminary. And they took a break to do whatever. And during their break, they came across me. They saw me outside of their heated church where they're learning how to be good Christians, good Mormon Christians. They see me out there in my sleeping bag. I was asleep. I didn't notice them. I was awoken to the sound of them laughing and taking pictures with their iPhones of me in a sleeping bag. I recommend, if you feel bad or think that I feel like I take that personally, watch the other video, because I'm saying I don't take this personally. That was last year, so I was 34. What I always tell people is I was not homeless for 31 years of my life. And so I saw this happening when I was perfectly safe and comfortable. I saw the mentality of people towards homeless and anyone else they could justify treating terribly. These are the people that Sean went to church with. These are the people who, by their relationships, could not convince Sean to want to live. And that's really the message here. This message is not to Sean. Of course not. Oh, Sean, I miss you, man. No, you seem like such a nice guy. No, he's dead. He chose to die. He chose to leave all these terrible people behind. And now they're all in the middle of this fake fucking sympathy. A sympathy that as soon as they have a different mood, mostly Facebook stuff I'm talking about, like, oh, rest in peace, Sean, feeling sad with Sean. And then the next post is some silly, sassy music. Well, you can't be sad forever. You can't even be sad for a day or two before having to put silly, sassy music on. That is the atmosphere that makes people like Sean kill himself. That is the atmosphere that makes people like the bishop I mentioned kill himself. So my point is, even though this video might be found by fans of Sean's death, I mean mourners of Sean's death, finally have something to live for. Oh, let's be sad. Even though I might just lose my account. Oh well, like I said, if I can't speak my mind on the account about something like a person's entirely preventable death, then I don't need this account. But what I will say is a whole lot of good-looking girls were, oh, poor Sean, he was so nice, and they put pictures of them with him up. Pictures of themselves with the dead guy. Not when he's dead, but just when they were with him. Like, oh, he was so sweet and this and that. Big titty chick standing next to him, totally friend-zoned him. Well, you know, he was my buddy. And then the next picture she has of herself is her being Lara Croft, all sexy, and then her wearing, what was it? One of those murder video games where you delight in pretending you're a military person going around killing everyone. Oh, and my friend died, so I'm sad. I'm murderous, I'm sad, I'm sexy. Yeah, we know. I'm simply saying this is the kind of atmosphere that makes people like Sean kill himself and go, just, no thanks. I'm going to leave. Your friendships mean less than nothing to me. They make me want to die. That's what he would say. But I didn't really want to put too much thought into this video. I didn't even expect it to get 7 minutes, because I simply wanted to give a little homage to Sean. Congratulations on your 2014 exodus, choosing to step away from life. Anybody who has a problem with that or thinks, oh, it was selfish of him, or, oh, it was the worst thing that could happen, look up Schopenhauer on suicide and enjoy this song. From Sean to you. I'm going to channel him, and this is what he'd say to you at the end of his life. It's a beautiful world we live in, a sweet romantic place, beautiful people everywhere. The way they show they care makes me want to say, it's a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world. It's a wonderful time to be here. It's nice to be alive. Wonderful people everywhere. The way they comb their hair makes me want to say, it's a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world for you. For you. For you. For you. Not me. Go back to sleep.